All right. Happy it wasn't just me. I was like, what did I do?
We're back. Did we?
No idea what happened. It just booted us all out. I did not, and Charlene did not hit the end button.
It's a sign.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you schedule the meeting from like 7 to 9 and it hits 9, it automatically ends.
That's
Yeah,
not
you know,
happened to us before.
It was right about exactly 9, Lucas. You may be right.
Yeah. It
You want to just go home?
depends on how it's
Yeah.
scheduled.
Okay, are we back? I see Peter is here. Peter's mic needs to be on, but he'll get that.
Hi.
No, I meant Peter Freeman, but hi, Peter. You too. But Peter Freeman, there's Peter Freeman. Okay, I don't know what happened. Sorry about that. The meeting is continuing at 9:06. I got in by the same link, so we'll assume for the record that anybody could get in. Judy, you were disconnected too, Judy?
Yes, I was. I thought you had kicked me out of the meeting.
We're thinking of it, but we did not. Okay, I didn't know that those 3 were going to take so long, but we did what we needed to do. Thank you for being here. Next is the 195 Mansfield Ave 40B application. I lost my agenda. Here it is. Continued public hearing for 195 Mansfield Ave, applicant owner AR Building Company, Gus Nominee Trust. Applicant seeking to construct a 100-unit rental apartment building, including 25 affordable housing units. Mr. Freeman, I thought you couldn't be here tonight, Peter.
I'm virtually in multiple places. Actually, my other hearing in Rainham virtually was an hour and a half, but now it's 2 hours since that time. So you are either fortunate or unfortunate to have me with you tonight. Although for reasons that Judy may want to explain, which I understand, she called me. So we had hoped to have a decision to go over. And I had said to Paul DiGiuseppe and my clients when we didn't get one, even the beginning of the week, because I also had a trial the last 2 days, you know, there's, you know, we didn't want to go over the decision, but now that's a moot point. And so we will still go forward. It's mostly my team members who will briefly update you. So from our viewpoint, it's still good to meet and we thank you, but I sent in the very minor revisions, which were really just clarification, typos on the waiver list. It stated November 16th. I corrected the 19-foot width of a parking space to 9 feet. And we put in the request, the same 159 spaces, but I noted, as we had discussed, I said of which 18 will not be built at the outset, but an area will be reserved for them if the need arises in the future, as shown on the approved plan in anticipation, forgive me, of approval. And that area was shown. I know it was sent to Paul. I believe it was made part of the record for you folks. And then the final change is that it turns out, Paul, I think Paul agrees, but I meant to say that Brandon Carr, our engineer, and I think that our sign actually complies. I think it's smaller than and complies with your sign code. So he sent in a detail of, I think it was on the plan, but a blow up of the actual details on the sign. So those are really the only changes. There might be a couple of other things that Brandon wanted to mention. So if you want me to just turn it over to him for a minute, that's fine.
Hold on just one second. Judy, what's the status from your end?
Mr. Chairman, I'm embarrassed to tell you I don't have it done.
But don't be embarrassed. I'm just asking.
I'm embarrassed, and when I talked to Paul earlier, I suggested that just in light of how congested my schedule has been, that rather than hold anybody up, perhaps it makes more sense for the board to consider what came up at the previous meeting, which is for Mr. Freeman to go ahead and draft a decision and we can all review it. I mean, I just don't want to hold anybody up, and I'm worried about my schedule. I'm happy to try, but I just don't want to hold anybody up.
Well, we had said that you would take a first round of it. I would suggest that you do that still. I would ask that you do that still, if you can.
I can, I just
Well-
didn't get it done by tonight, and I don't want to hold up the applicant or the board. I feel
Well,
kind of
We're
bad
not
about
gonna-
it.
We don't have it now, so, we could get it at some point and take a look. Mr. Freeman?
No, I understand that, but Judy also courteously called me before tonight, just today, but before tonight's hearing. And, it really does become to be a question of time. And if I hadn't worked so much with Judy in the past, I would respectfully suggest this, because Paul DiGiuseppe, when I emailed back and forth with him about another date after tonight, he said December 9th. After that, it's going to be virtually impossible to have another hearing until sometime into January. And, certainly Judy and anybody else you want to review it should review it. But, and dare I say, I think you also know me, the board and Mr. Noel, I will certainly intend to write a balanced decision that's reasonable from both sides. And I think it's basically still a friendly 40B, where it seems as though there's essentially, without being presumptuous again about how you'll vote, but consensus on, what the project will be and the revisions. And so, I really would like to ask that, as Judy suggested, I'll draft it, I'll go over it with her, before sending it to the board. So
That's
it
fine.
is-
That's fine. You don't have to be so cautious about it. That's fine. I just didn't
Thank
want
you.
to take it away from Judy, but if that's fine. Just
Okay. I
Hey,
appreciate
Judy,
it.
look it over, but give it to us when you're ready to give it to us so that we can take it from there. I have no
Mr.
objection.
Mr. Chairman, part of the added difficulty is that if you're continuing to the 9th, I can't be here. I actually have another meeting that night. So that's my double concern, is that even if I draft it, I can't be here to respond to any questions from the board.
Okay, that is what, 3 weeks? 1, 2,
I
3
think,
weeks.
yeah, I just already have a meeting that night.
Okay.
We also, you do, obviously after this, you have to select your next few meetings, but
Yeah.
we'd also looked at, obviously the 16th could be a potential date for you all to meet instead.
Yeah, that's.
Not for me though, because excuse me, but I have another commitment on the 16th because Paul had discussed the 9th with me. So, sorry.
That's fine. The 16th is getting very close anyway. We could do the 15th or 14th, I suppose, but I really wouldn't want to go beyond the 16th, just given the holidays.
Right.
Do you want to discuss the 14th? Does that give you time to get something together and get it to us?
Oh, I'll definitely do it. And, I know that Judy will make time to go over it because, not that it takes 5 minutes, but I'm sure, Judy will bend over backwards to review what I did and talk to me as necessary, and including Paul, obviously, after Judy and I, well, if we hopefully agree on what the draft should be.
Okay, members, though, I got to ask the members first, and Paul. 16th, 9th and 16th are Wednesday nights. What's anything workable with the 15th or 14th or not workable?
Can't do the 15th, that's planning board.
I'm available on the 14th.
That's a Monday night.
Mhm.
That works.
Jim,
Works for me.
David, you're muted, which is nice, but just give a thumbs up or thumbs down. David, you're still muted. I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
That's
I'm talking to
okay.
myself. So I'm rather open. I guess I would prefer the week of the 9th, if we could do that, but like the 8th or something like that.
I'm okay with that, but again, I'd ask Jim Tenori.
The 8th might be a problem.
Okay,
I'd have to be in 2 Zooms at once.
and driving, right? And driving.
And driving and probably doing surveillance at the same time, so.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, of course. Identify yourself, please. For the record.
Yes, Sandra Copley at Paraso Commercial. I'm the agent that represents the seller, who is Michelle, sitting up there in the corner.
Yes, Michelle iPad.
She's one of these sellers. Could you explain to us what was not done and what Mr. Berman is going, Freeman is going to do, because I'm a little lost.
We could take a second to do that. We have to draft up a draft decision that we can then go through, review, and edit, which takes some time. So it is an actual decision that we are talking about formulating, compiling. And so Judy and Peter are going to work together on that in the next few weeks.
So do we know what the decision is yet? And is it just
No, we have
fine tuning it?
We don't take a vote, although this is it's considered a friendly 40B application and that the town has supported it. We're working out the details. I anticipate that the details will be worked out and we'll take a positive vote at some point in the next weeks.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, of course. Sorry, the dates we were talking about. 14th.
14th, Mr. Chairman, I think you had mentioned Monday, the 14th.
Yeah, is that okay, David, or is that?
Yeah, I mean, that's fine.
The only other thing I would suggest, if you can't do the 9th, I could do the 7th. So, but the 7th or the 14th are open.
Oh, okay.
So
Is the 7th better, David?
I would prefer the 7th, yes.
I don't know if that gives time enough, Peter and Judy, but
It will.
I can't be available on the 7th, but if
Oh.
I'm working with Peter ahead of time, maybe you don't need me. But I can be available on the 14th.
that would seem better then.
sorry, Jim.
I think that would be better. The 14th, Judy's available that day, I think.
But Peter can't.
No, the 14th I can. Monday, the 14th I can.
Yeah, I thought
It was the 16th I could not.
Sorry.
14th is fine.
Okay, and so David, you can live with the 14th?
Yep. I'm
Let's
fine.
set the 14th then, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead then. We are going to get a draft decision going and we'll review it at the next meeting. There are some updates. I had a question about the sign. Peter, did you say that a new sign plan was submitted? I didn't remember seeing that.
I'll defer to Brandon. I know that in email exchanges, he did a blow up on the email with Paul DiGiuseppe and me. I think it was on the initial plan. So Brandon, can you please answer?
And the waiver difference is now stating confirmation that the sign meets with the bylaws. So we wouldn't need a waiver for that, right?
Well, that's what I was saying. Yes,
Okay.
if Paul and the board agrees that we comply, which we believe we do,
We can take it off the waiver.
rather than just omit it, I wanted to keep it so you would see it. And
I get it. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Carr.
Yep. Good evening, Brandon Carr from Dupree Engineering. I'll just share my screen so I can show the sign and then the one plan update that was made. So can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the proposed sign. This was on the original plans, and the requirement is that the sign be less than 48 square feet. And we just clarified, this is kind of a blow up. You can see that there's an actual sign portion and it sits on this brick masonry kind of pedestal.
Yep.
And the sign portion of it is a little over 10 feet by 2 feet. So it's less than half the required requirement. The only comment that's not shown here, and we could either update this detail or it could be listed as a condition. I think the building commissioner building official last time asked that we just add the address.
The fire department, yeah.
Yeah. So we would just add the street number to this sign, which, we can graphically add it and get a new detail over, or we can just agree to do that.
Yeah, I think that the fire department's been specific about that with all the developments in town.
Yeah, so that's an easy update we can easily add.
Okay.
And then the one plan update we made last time, if you'll remember, we talked about the amount of parking for a while. Just to refresh everybody, we have 100 units. We had proposed 159 parking spaces. And we agreed to basically keep the layout the same, but wait on constructing 18 of the spaces.
Right.
Yes.
We talked about that these 18 in the center here probably made the most sense because it also eliminated this drive aisle. It made for a nice large green space back here. So we just updated the plan and the waiver to basically state that these 18 interior parking spaces to not initially be built, but may be built in the future if needed. And I think we discussed that would be something that we would go to the building official for if
Yes.
we found it necessary, but we would hold off on building those. So that was the only plan update. We left the stormwater design and everything the same so that if those spaces ever were built, everything's ready for them. We would just remove that little parking bay back there and leave it grass for now, or landscape or whatever.
Thank you. That was the only update. Okay.
And that was the only update to the plans.
Any questions, members? Or Paul?
No, I think that conformed what we talked about last time. So.
Yep. The parking spaces are no longer 19 feet wide. If they were, we could store some rental equipment there, but sorry. I won't take up any more time with my bad jokes. Okay, what's next, Peter, if anything?
That's really it. You know, we've discussed actually at the last hearing, I believe, a lot of the waivers, which is what led to these changes. So I know as part of your deliberating and the hearing will still be open, but when we draft the decision, naturally you have to go over them. I think it may be sort of redundant to do it now, especially since you have another hearing, but you know, naturally it's up to you.
I'm all in favor of just taking it up next time, and hopefully we'll have a document in front of us. Members, are there other questions or issues?
No,
ahead.
just so I'm clear, the next meeting, we would be reviewing the document and potentially voting on it, or we don't?
No, well, that's presumptuous of me to say no, I guess. We have to get a decision in front of us and really have to go over it pretty carefully. So I would anticipate we'd vote on it at our next meeting, which we would schedule in early-ish January. Now, if Peter, I hope you're not saying that presents a problem going into January. I don't see how to avoid it.
Well, you know, again, I don't want to be presumptuous nor over optimistic. Naturally, you know, my client and I would prefer to, you know, do everything we can to wrap it up on December 14th. But, you know, I know that you know, take things very deliberately, and I'm not trying in any way to dispense with that. So my hope would be that I'll be able to do it quickly enough so that everybody, and, you know, Judy and I would get it to you so that you would review it at least a week in advance. And I know you're all busy, but, you know, get it to you in 2 weeks instead of 3. And, you know, because I presume you don't have any other items, because that's not your regular hearing date, that, you know, we would be able to spend the time to go over it. And if you're then comfortable, hopefully with a vote, that it could be done. But again, I'm not trying to be presumptuous.
Okay, I'm just going on past practice. Usually we want to see it, talk about it at a meeting, and then give it a final translation and edit. But we'll see. We'll see when we get there. Don't presume we don't have any more business on the 14th. The way Nicole just stands outside with a sign in front of town hall and says, applicants to ZBA right here. And
I absolutely do.
oh, thanks, Nicole.
I am, promise.
Glad you're popular.
The unseen mistress of ceremonies. Okay. Sorry to keep everybody waiting on this tonight. Is there anything else on this tonight, or no, Paul?
On 195?
Yes.
No, nope. We'll just look at the draft and
Okay.
get it ready, get it to you all the week before the 14th.
Peter, same, and Judy?
I'll say thank you.
That's a plan.
Thank you.
And members, nothing else right now. We had asked about the sidewalks, but I think we had agreed that we are going to put something in a condition that the applicant must go to the next step of going to the state to ask about those issues. Is that right?
Right.
Because the board felt that was an important feature here. And I would just echo that again. How to draft that is, you know, that's what's next. That's the interesting step. Okay. Members, is there a motion to continue this to a meeting which we will also set with this motion for help me out, December 14th at 7
Yes.
PM, was that it?
Yep.
Monday, December 14th, 7 PM. Make it 7:05 just in case. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion to continue the meeting till December 14th at 7:05 PM.
I'll second that.
Okay, no further discussion. Mr. Red, how do you vote on your motion to continue?
Yes.
Mr. Tenori, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Noel votes yes as well. Thank you again, and sorry to keep everybody waiting over the first three.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thanks so
Mr.
much.
Chair.
Thank you.
Okay, members, let's keep going at this speed, breakneck speed. What did I skip?
253. Continuance.
Oh, we did okay, I was thinking there was still another one before it. 253, we got a communication from the owner again, Paul.
Yes.
And, they're still not certain what's going to happen.
Uh,
Select board did not approve them for the cannabis license, is that it?
Correct. They're not moving forward on the marijuana retail for 253. So I
But
would
he-
expect this is going to be, I expect you'll be hearing this on the 14th. You'll be hearing from the applicant is my guesstimate.
But do you have any inclination? Are they going to continue with the 40B or is there something else afoot? I'm just curious.
My understanding is they'd be moving forward with the 40B.
So I don't remember where we were, but we'll have to pick up.
Yeah.
Put on the schedule for that night at, just do 7:15, so it's after the first. And we'll see where they are, and I assume hear from them as to where to pick up. Yes.
Right. Yeah, we'll have to do a reset with them.
Yeah.
A small one, but then determine, keep in mind, we haven't even signed a peer review for that.
Thank you. I didn't remember. Okay, yeah, we'd only had.
I caution us, and the reason why I asked Paul about how many continuances we've had, I don't want to get to the point where we just continually continue an application to give them several opportunities to seek other ventures as well. That's my only gripe. I get they went to try and get the marijuana dispensary. It didn't happen. Like if, either you're going to go through with it or not. I don't want to end up where we had over on Bay Road, that it goes a long time. I don't.
Okay, but we're going to put them on for the 14th and see where they are, and we can give them that, that instruction then. Okay?
Okay.
Yep.
So is there a motion to continue 253 Mansfield Ave to the meeting of December 14th at 7:15?
I'll make a motion to continue the matter of 253 Mansfield Ave to December 14th at 7:15 PM.
I'll second.
Mr. David, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Jim?
I vote yes.
Mr. Noel votes yes as well. Continued, great. Paul, just communicate with them and tell them, they're on, and so we need a reset. That's a good word as to where we are, where they are. Okay, thanks.
Right.
Just a couple other things. We'll be done in 5 minutes, I hope. There's a bill.
Two of them.
Two of them?
They're right. Nicole, am I mistaken?
I have one.
There's one in August and one in October.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's on the same warrant. Yes.
Yes, right, correct. It's for Amory, who did the peer review for 195.
And oh, they're both for Emory. Okay.
Yes.
Got it. Total, this is big money. It's coming out of Paul's pocket, $5,637. If anybody wishes to see the invoices, speak now. Otherwise, is there a motion to approve the payment of $5,637 to Amory Engineers of Duxbury. Do you have this? Did you want to take a look at anything?
No. No, I mean, that was the expected amount, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
And it's only if we have it in peer review that we can spend it. So I'm assuming,
Right. And we still have a small balance left,
okay.
but his work is essentially done.
I thought it was helpful. He was helpful, I thought.
Yeah, and he would be the person again that we would use for 253 Mansfield.
So is there a motion to approve this payment and send it along to the next step in the mysterious halls of Town Hall?
I'll make a motion to approve the bill, peer review bill invoice.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, I'm sorry. Mr. Wren, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Tenori, how do you vote?
Yes.
And Mr. Noel votes yes as well. I will sign this 3 times and send it. And I guess I'll send the original too, so that nobody will bug me for it next week. Even
Yeah,
though
because you'll get Nicole on you, and that's bad news.
it's not Nicole, it's somebody else at Town Hall who doesn't believe that electronic signatures are valid in Massachusetts, though they are under the rules, of course.
Counting makes me get the original, so I'm so sorry, Tom. I'm really sorry.
It's fine. I'm gonna start putting in for the 55-cent stamps. Okay, then lastly, I think I passed around 2 sets of minutes. I emailed them earlier today. Do you want to do them tonight? Do you want to hold them? It's 9:30. I understand either way.
I had a chance to read them over, so I'm fine with voting on them.
Okay.
I did too.
Okay, then in line with that, there's minutes of meeting of October 7, 2020.
Mr. Chairman, I don't think I was there on the 7th, one of them though.
Yeah, I get to make the motion now. I get to kick you out for a minute.
Yep.
The chair officially appoints Mr. Booley to step in on these minutes. Is that reflected accurately in the minutes that you weren't here?
I didn't see you put that in there, but I know I wasn't there for it.
You know what? Actually, no, you're in here, Jim.
Am I?
So I'm gonna scratch you out of these minutes. So it's in the second paragraph, October 7, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Booley, Mr. Wren, Mr. Wasiak, and me. I'll scratch that out. Are there any other comments on the minutes of October 7?
Didn't have any.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of October 7th.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Booley, how do you vote on your motion?
Yes.
Mr. Wren?
Yes.
Mr. Noel, yes. I will make that one correction in the second paragraph. And it's correct in the public hearing portion, but it's not in the second paragraph. So I'll just scratch that out and I'll sign them and get them in. Then the minutes of the meeting of October 14, 2020 were also edited and distributed earlier today. Were we all there for that one? And are there any comments or changes or corrections?
I didn't have any comments.
Then is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the meeting minutes of the meeting of October 14th.
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Wren, how do you vote on the minutes? Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Tenori?
Yes.
Mr. Noel? Yes. These are the silliest rules. Okay, I'll get those signed and in, and I'll mail them all in one envelope to Nicole. It's going to take 2 stamps though with all this paper, so I'm putting in for $1.10 next meeting, just so you know. Is that all we have tonight?
Could you give us some January dates or January or?
Yes, sure. Sure, let's look. So we have December 14. First Wednesday is the 6th. Second Wednesday is the 13th. I'm okay with either one of those. Keep in mind, that'll probably be, I'm anticipating that'll be the vote on the 40B.
I would prefer the 6th, which might make it, which may fit in a little better with perhaps voting on the 40B.
The 6th, everything's back to normal by the 6th, right? With New Year's and everything?
Be in person too.
And COVID.
COVID's
In
gone.
person.
Really?
That doesn't happen till the 20th.
Actually,
21st.
You know, getting together with you guys is actually going to be a chore after this, isn't it?
what's going to be for us? We have to figure out where we're going to meet in person.
Oh, that's right. Town hall's been decommissioned, hasn't it? They're still catching lice and mice there or something. And
Hopefully vaccines will be available soon and we'll be back to normal this next year, right, everyone?
we're going to meet.
I'm enjoying Zoom. I'm doing Zoom from Florida. I'm all into Zoom.
I agree. I agree. It's actually convenient in some respects. We'll meet
Yeah.
at Peter Wiggins' house for pizza that night. Okay. Let's so what do we, the 6th, 7
Yeah.
p.m.
Okay.
6th, yeah.
Can we list it? Okay, let's do it. Is there anything else to come before us? Either Peter? No, Peter Wiggins is the only Peter left. Thank you. Thanks. We'll see you on the 14th. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the
Make a
motion.
motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Mr. Ren, do you vote yes?
Yes.
Mr. Tenori, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes to adjourn. No objections? Alan, Lucas?
Nope.
Thanks. Thanks. Sorry it's so long. We got
Good
through
night,
a lot.
everyone. Good night, everyone.
Have a good night, guys.
I'll look for two decisions, Nicole, right? Thank you.
That's right, everyone. 2021 is the year we're going to be back to normal.
We'll end the meeting for real this time,
Good luck, Peter.
not accidental.
What? That's right. Have a good night, Paul.
Good night.
Good night,
Thank
Paul.
you.
Good night.
Thanks.
Good night.